Good afternoon, students. How are you all? Very good afternoon. Who is present right now? Amit, Ankit, Astha, Bajrang, Bhagesh, Bhumika, Deep, Chandan, Dev, Diksha, Divyansu, Hina, Jay, Kamalraj, Karthik. Hello all. Okay, can you see the slides? Yes. So this is now we had completed unit number 8 in our previous session, and now we are going to continue unit number 9, that is memory organization. So first let us see a chart of different types of memory which are associated with CPU. Now the first is main memory. Main memory, this occupies the central position. This memory communicates directly with CPU. This involves auxiliary memory. This involves communication with the auxiliary memory as well as cache memory. So whenever you purchase any mobile phone, right, what you see? What is the RAM and ROM inside it? That is your main memory. That is along with the processor only. Auxiliary memory, they are the additional memories, right, which can provide a backup storage. Like in our laptop, there is a hard disk, or if we use a pen drive or magnetic tape or magnetic disk, these are all auxiliary memories. Now the communication between the main memory and the auxiliary memory takes place with the help of IO processor, because auxiliary memory is connected on input output port, on IO port, and that is why the communication between the main memory and the auxiliary memory takes place using a IO processor. Cache memory. Students, are you aware about cache memory? Anyone? Where you have studied this cache memory? In any other course? Which course? In the introduction of our COA. Okay. Okay, that's good that you are aware about cache memory. So my question comes that where is the location of cache memory? Is it with the RAM? Is it with the ROM? Is it with auxiliary memory? Is it with the CPU? Where is the location of cache memory? Vicky has written one answer. Bajrang, switch off your video. Bajrang, switch off your video. Okay. Injal and Rinku has written correct answer. The cache memory is with the CPU only. That is located on the processor itself, along with processor. Many times cache memory is fabricated with CPU only. The memory itself is manufactured while the processor is manufactured. Now, because it is with the processor only, the communication between the cache memory and the CPU, that will be the fastest communication, because the wires are shortest, the numbers of ports connection can be done, the number of wires that can be connected between memory and processor, that can also be more. and there is very less chance of interference. So very high speed communication between the cache memory and the CPU. But then there is a disadvantage also, the size of the cache memory. The size of the cache memory. That size is not as the size of RAM or ROM, which is available along with the with the processor. Very small size, right? Most of the times in KB or MB, maximum MB. Even with the processor Core i3 or Core Core i5, that the size of the cache memory is in MB, megabytes only. Now, why small size? Because larger the size of the memory, it will occupy more area on the chip, and the size of the whole processor has to be small itself. So if very high amount of memory is fabricated, then the size of the chip will increase. So that is not possible. And of course, the chip area has to be mainly covered for circuit for CPU, circuit for processor. That is why cache memory size is very small compared to main memory or compared to auxiliary memory. So the thing is that, why do we need cache memory? Some operands which are most frequently used, that operands need not to be frequently read or write from the main memory or the auxiliary memory. Those operands can be stored in the cache memory temporarily when the program is getting executed using that operand. And that data is stored in cache memory. This is the hierarchy of the memory. A memory unit is a collection of storage units and devices together. The memory unit stores the binary information in the form of bits, and generally that is classified into two categories. One is called as volatile memory, and the second kind of memory is called as non-volatile memory. Now, what do we mean by volatile memory? The memory which loses the data once the power is switched off. Power meaning the power which is required by that memory hardware. If that power is switched off, then whatever data is there inside that memory, that data is lost. That is volatile category of memory. Another category is non-volatile category of memory. This is the permanent storage. Even if the power is switched off, then also data is inside only. So now you tell me, your pen drive, is it volatile or non-volatile? You are not using pen drive, then also data is still there. So it is non-volatile. But what about RAM? RAM is volatile. RAM also now, there are some manufacturing related technological advancements, right, which can have, but generally you right now keep it as a volatile only, okay? Because that advancement are not part of your book. Okay. So in the hierarchy we see magnetic tapes, magnetic disk, main memory, cache memory, and register memory. The first two category of memory, register memory Register meaning registers which are on chip of the CPU, chip of the processor, right? Like for 8085, we have register A, register B, register C, register D. They are all registers, but they can also store the data. So that is also category of memory, register memory. Then cache memory, that is internal memory. Then main memory is the primary memory. Most of the time RAM is there. In the secondary memory, there is a hard disk or a pen drive. And then ternary memory, tape drives. If you see the size, registers are mostly, how many registers are there? They can store few bytes. On the other hand, cache memory can store few kilobytes or maximum megabyte. Main memory is capable to store gigabytes range of data. Magnetic disk is capable to store terabytes related data, and magnetic tapes can store petabytes data. As the size of the memory increases, the area it takes on the chip, that also increases. But speed is magnetic tape slowest, magnetic disk comparatively fastest, main memory comparatively faster, cache memory comparatively faster, byte register memory fastest. Okay? So the communication between the CPU circuit and the memories, as per this pyramid, on the top the categories are fastest. The categories are fastest category of memory. So this is the hierarchy of memory. Now let us see memory access methods. Each memory type is a collection of numerous memory locations. And to access the data from any memory, first it must be located and then the data is read from the memory location. So following are the methods of access information. One is a random access. In that category, the main memories, which are most of the time random access memories, in which each memory location has a unique address. And using this unique address, any memory location can be reached in the same amount of time in any order. Remember, here the memory locations has a unique addresses. Okay, now any address. What is happening? Alsaif, are you with me? Alsaif? Alsaif, focus on your lecture right now. So now, even if the address is 0000 or the address is FFFF, doesn't matter. The amount of access time to any memory location is same. Then there are sequential access. In this method, the memory access is in sequence or in order. Third one is direct access. In this mode of transfer, the information is stored in the tracks, and with each track is having a separate read or write head. So each component of the registers, they have this tracks, and very fast transfer can happen. Now, These kind of questions are asked in your examination. How many memory is useful in computer system? Explain the memory address map of RAM and ROM. So this is a typical RAM chip and typical ROM chip, just a rough idea. There are a lot of things, but only few things we are showing here. The RAM which is shown, that is 128 cross 8. That means there are 128 registers, and each register is able to have, each register is able to store 8 bit of data. Now, because there are 128 registers, the addresses of the registers has to be 7 bit. With 7 bit, we can show 2 raised to 7, 128 different possible binary numbers, which can be used as addresses of this 7-bit address and 128 memory locations. So now you tell me, if you have 8 GB of pen drive, what is the length of memory address? What will be the length of the memory address to access the location from 8 GB of memory? I have received one response only from one student. Okay. If there are 128 memory locations, what is the address length needed? What is the address length? 7 bit. If there is 256 memory locations, what will be the length of the address? 8 bit. If there are 512 memory locations, what will be the length of address? 9 bit. 1024, that means 1 KB registers, then 10 bit, then 2048, 2 KB, 11 bits, 4 KB, 12 bit, 8 KB, 13 bits. Like that, when there is a 1 MB, 20 bits would be required. For 2 MB, address would be of 21 bit. For 1 GB, 30 bits are required. For 2 GB, 31 bit memory address. For 4 GB, 32-bit, and for 8 GB, 33-bit length address is required. So the answer written by Vicky is correct. Now for the given RAM, okay, the RAM has 128 registers, and so the address lines are 7-bit address. Then there is a separate pin for read, separate pin for write. Then there is a chip select 1, chip select 2. These are, we can say, it is an enable kind of signal. When these signals are given, then and then only RAM would be performing its normal operation. But chip select 1 and chip select 2 both are different. There is a bar sign shown in chip select 2. What does that bar sign mean? On chip select 2, there is one bar sign shown. What does that bar sign mean? Anyone? This one and CS1 and CS2. On CS2, there is a bar sign shown. What does it mean? It is not a complement. It's not addition also. The bar sign means that pin is active low signal. That pin is active low pin. And CS1, where the bar sign is not used, that would have mean it is active high. Now, what do we mean by active low, active high? Anyone? Active low or active high? As far as I remember, even in the basic electronics course, in the basic electronics course, I did teach you this, even though it was not part of syllabus. But in digital electronics, you must have studied. What do we mean by active low or active high?
Sir, active high means out high signal produced and low means low signal produced.
पर ये तो आउटपुट नहीं है, ये तो इनपुट पिन है. Low means input 0, high means 1. But active high, active low, active word यूज किया है ना. तो रिमेंबर, ये याद रखना, यहां पर जो CS1 है, जो एक्टिव हाई है, एक्टिव हाई पिन है, वहां पर if the input voltage is 0 volt, that would be considered logic 0. And if the input voltage is 5 volt, that is considered logic 1. On the other hand, for active low CS2 pin, 0 volt would mean logic 1 and 5 volt would mean logic 0. जब वहां पर 0 वोल्ट मिलता है तब वो उसको एक्टिव कंसीडर करता है, एक्टिव लो पिन को, और एक्टिव हाई पिन को जब 5 वोल्ट मिलता है तब वो उसको एक्टिव कंसीडर करता है. Is this clear now? Then read and write, they are the control signals, and then there is a 8 bit of data bus. अब ये देखो डेटा बस का साइज 8 बिट क्यों है? क्योंकि 128 रजिस्टर से, इसलिए डेटा बस का साइज 8 बिट क्यों है? Because one register can store 8 bits. That is why the data bus is 8 bit. So remember the relationship between the size of the address bus and size of the data bus. Data bus depends on the size of one register, and address bus length depends on the number of registers. For example, आपके पास कोई एक ऐसा मेमोरी हो जिसमें एक रजिस्टर 16 बिट स्टोर कर सकता है, उस वो वाला मेमोरी का एक्सेस करने के लिए डेटा बस आपको 16 बिट का चाहिए होगा, राइट? अब ये 16 बिट वाले कितने रजिस्टर्स है? सपोज 16 बिट वाले 1024 डिफरेंट रजिस्टर्स है, तो एड्रेस बस का लेंथ कितना होगा? 10 बिट हो जाएगा. So now let me ask you a question. Suppose you have 16 KB of memory, and each memory can store 32 bits. Each register can store 32 bits. ऐसे आपके पास 16 के 32 बिट वाले रजिस्टर है. अभी ये मेमोरी को एक्सेस करना है, तो एड्रेस बस का लेंथ क्या होगा और डेटा बस का लेंथ क्या होगा, कंसिडरिंग पैरेलल कम्युनिकेशन है?
सर
Everyone write in the chat box. You have 16K number of 32 bit registers, meaning one register can store 32 bits. और सच इतने ऐसे कितने रजिस्टर्स है? 16K. तो अब ऐसे मेमोरी के लिए एड्रेस बस का लेंथ कितना होगा और डेटा बस का लेंथ कितना होगा? What will be the length of address bus and what will be the length of data bus? सभी स्टूडेंट्स को आंसर लिखना है. I have received only 2 reply from Sonu and Vicky. What about others? Rinku 3, Ankit 4, Kinjal. ये 32 किंजल किसका लिखा है? डेटा बस, एड्रेस बस? अमित, ओके, किंजल ने क्लैरिफाई किया. व्हाट अबाउट अदर्स? प्रियंका, भार्गव, चिन्मय, कमलराज, कार्तिक, कृष्णा, पार्थ. Okay, now you yourself check your answer, because there are 16k different registers. That means 1k would require 10 bit, 2k requires 4 bit. Sorry, 1k requires 10 bit, 2k requires 11 bit, 4k requires 12 bit, 8k requires 13 bit, 16k would require 14 bit address. 2 raised to 14, that means 16k. And each register is of 32 bit, so data bus is required for 32 bit. Clear? Then in typical ROM, chip selects are there, address bus is there, and data bus is there. Now you see how memory connections can be done with the CPU. Here we see on the top there is a CPU which has address bus of 16 bit. There is a read and write signal. Here bit 11 to 16, bit 10, 8, 1 to 7. Then there are separate read and write signal and separate data bus. Suppose such multiple RAMs are there, then in that case, read and write signal of the CPU is connected with read write signal of each of the RAM. And observe the last ROM. There is no read or write signal. So that read signal is given to chip select 1. Now you see the RAMs are having 128 registers. So there are 7-bit address lines required, right? For each of the RAM. But on the ROM, it requires 9-bit of address. So how it is done? Address lines from the CPU, first 1 to 7 lines, they are connected to address pins of RAM, each of the RAM, and one address pin of ROM also. Then 8 and 9, they are given to decoder, right? Because that will also behave as a select. And depending on those two values, which RAM to select. So first RAM is connected with decoder 0, second RAM connected with decoder 1 output, third RAM is connected with decoders 2 output, fourth RAM is connected with decoders 3 output. And then bit number 10. Bit number 10 of the address is connected with chip select of all the RAMs and ROMs. Chip select and specifically active low chip select of all RAM and ROM. Just in the case of the ROM, there has to be a NOT gate required, so that when RAM are being used, ROM is not used. Data bus of each of the RAM and ROM, they are connected. Here in the address line, you can see that for the ROM, two additional addresses are pin number 8 and 9. This one, pin number 8 and 9, they are directly connected to 8 and 9 pin of the ROM. Now you see how the addresses are assigned to each of the memory element in the chip. Consider that we have a 512 bytes of RAM and 512 bytes of ROM. So in that case, RAM and ROM but RAM 512 is 128, 128, 128, 128, it's like that. Each RAM is of 128 byte only. So you see that out of the address bus, 1 to 7 bits, they are used for all the RAMs and ROMs. Bit number 8 and 9, they are used as a select for which RAM to use, RAM 1 or RAM 2 or RAM 3 or RAM 4. And bit number 10, that is only used in the case of ROM only. So that's a longer address, right? And so if you see that from the addresses with the value 0, 0, 0, and then other bits, lower bits are insignificant, don't care is kept, and so second prime 0, 0, 1 and then don't care. If you see the hexadecimal address for the top one, this can go up to 0, 0, 0, 0 to 0, 0, 7. Second can go up from 0, 0, 8, 0 to 0, 0, FF. Then 0, 1, 0, 0 to 0, 1, 7F. And then 0, 1, 8, 0 to 0, 1, FF. And finally for ROM, 0, 2, 0, 0 to 0, 3, FF. Right? So these are just ideas how addresses are considered. 0, 0, 0, 0 to 1, 1, 1, 1. And that is why addresses are going from 0, 0, 0, 0 to 0, 0, 7F. Then these are the green color, they are bit 8, 9, bit 8, 9, bit 8, 9, bit 8, 9. Now we know why this is 8F, because this is 1, 7 times 0 to 1, 1, 1, 1. This is 1, then 4 times 0, then 4 times 0. So 1, 0, 0, 2, 1, then 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. 0, 1, 7F. This one is 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 8, 0, 1, 4 times 1, 4 times 1, 0, 1, FF. So this is from the address bus itself. We can find out that what are the different possible address for particular RAM. And then for the ROM, there are one more bits. So 1 0, 4 times 0, 4 times 0. That is 2 0 0. This is 2FF. Sorry, 3FF. Okay, students. Before proceeding, let us take a 2 minutes of eye break. I request you to drink water and see objects at least 16 feet and further distance. 2 minutes of eye break only. Okay, are we back? Students? Let's continue on the topic of auxiliary memory. This memory is called as a secondary memory. It is used to store large chunks of data which are not uh, very frequently used, but over here, because it can store large chunks of data, cost per byte, that is very low compared to primary memory. Another thing is that it does not lose the data when the device is powered down. It is a non-volatile case of memory. Third, it is not directly accessible by CPU. CPU pins, the processor pins are not directly connected to the auxiliary memory. That has to be used via IO ports, input output channels. The most common form of auxiliary memory devices which are used in consumer systems, that is flash memory, optical disc, magnetic tapes, they are all auxiliary memories. Now, what do we mean by associative memory? This is a memory unit which is accessed by the contents is called as associative memory, or what we can say content addressable memory. Let us see back. Here, this is normal case of memory. 908070. These are the contents of memory locations, and the address is provided there. Over here, the data is required as an input. So the memory is not accessible by addresses. The memory is accessible by the content of the memory. So content addressable memory. This memory is also called as associative memory. This type of memory is accessible simultaneously and parallelly also on the basis of data content rather than specific address or the location. तो यहाँ पर एड्रेस नहीं लेकिन डेटा कंटेंट से ये एक्सेस होती है. In such memories, the write operation, when a word is written in the associative memory, no address is given. The memory is capable itself of finding an unused location to store the word. In the case of read operation, when a word is read from the associative memory, the contents of the word or a part of the word is specified. And the memory locates all the words which matches with the specific content and marks them for reading. So let us go back. Here, suppose 80H value needs to be read, then data is given 80H as an input to content addressable memory. Now in different locations, wherever 80 is written, that all locations are marked for reading the content. They are marked for reading the content. Now let us see the hardware organization for this. Okay. This hardware organization that we will discuss in our next lecture. So far we have today discussed types of memory, memory hierarchy, and up to last topic discussed is associative memory. Introduction to associative memory. Okay, now. Okay, there is a question in the chat box. What do we mean by chunks? Chunks meaning a group of bits, right? Large chunks of data. That means suppose there is a 100 megabytes of data, so it can be called as a chunk. Clear, Ankit? It is 13th, and yes, we have seen memory organization. Today we have seen two topics actually. Memory hierarchy, auxiliary, associative. This is introduction. Okay, now write your attendance as I speak numbers. Akshay is absent. Akash Giani. Akash Giani, if you are present, write your number in the chat box. Absent. 124. 124. Please write your enrollment number in the chat box. Okay, 12 absent. 568. 568. 5, 6 present. Yeah, Ankit, you need to contact your CC for that. 9, 10, 11. 13, 14, 15. 14, 16, 17, 18. 19, 20, 21. 22, 23, 24. 22 is absent. 25, 26, 27. 26 absent, 27 absent. 28, 29, 30. 'हर्ष, आपका नंबर तो मैंने बोला नहीं, आप क्यों अटेंडेंस लिख रहे हो अभी? थर्टी नंबर एब्सेंट. 31, 32, 34. 31, 32, 34. 32 आ गया. 31 एब्सेंट. 44 एब्सेंट. प्रियंका प्रेजेंट. 35, 36, 37. 38, 39, 40. 38, 39, 40. 41, 43, 44. 41 absent. 46, 47, 48. 47 absent. 47 present. 49, 51, 52. 53, 54, 55. 56, 57, 58. 56 absent. 58 absent. 59, 60, 61. 62, 63, 64. 63 absent, 64 absent. 64 is the present. Okay. Then 65, 66, 67. 68, 69, 70. 68 absent. 71, 72, 73. 74, 75. 2 is absent. Then D to D. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 absent. 3 absent. 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9. 8 and 9 absent. Okay, please check attendance. Can you see the screen? Students, can you see the screen? Please check your attendance. If you are present, please reply right now only. Okay, done? Okay, then we can end our today's lecture. See you in the next lecture. Have a good day to all the students.